6 years after the federal government ordered Americans to stop using 3 specific jack stands, more than 1.8 million of them are still in garages across this country. These are the recalls, the design flaws that caused them, and 3 replacements that will not fail when you are under your car. Federal law draws a sharp line. Jack stands are not just another consumer product. In June 2011, the Consumer Product Safety Commission issued an advisory opinion, making it clear: jack stands are motor vehicle equipment, not general household tools. That puts them under the authority of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, the same agency that handles recalls for airbags and seatbelts. If you want to check a recall, go to NHTSA.gov, not CPSC.gov. The CPSC's own words were, "Recall jurisdiction belongs to NHTSA." This matters because when a jack stand fails, the consequences are immediate and severe. The first official warning came in 2011, but the real escalation began in 2020. 4 separate NHTSA recall campaigns swept through the market in less than a year. Campaign 20E-016, filed in May 2020, targeted 454,000 units of the Pittsburgh 6-ton heavy-duty steel jack stand. The same day, Campaign 20E-027 added another 1,254,000 units. Those were the 3-ton versions, sold under item numbers 56371 and 61196. Injuries had already been reported. By August, Campaign 20E-046 pulled 118,000 more stands, all showing a new failure mode in the welds. Finally, in October, Campaign 20E-053 forced Walmart to recall nearly 14,000 hyper-tough 2-ton stands, warning of a ratchet bar that could break without warning. In total, over 1.8 million jack stands were officially recalled in less than 6 months. Each recall has its own campaign ID, notification date, and unit count, all searchable through the NHTSA recall portal. This is the scale of the problem. Hundreds of thousands of defective stands across multiple brands, sitting in garages, all verified by federal records. The next step is knowing exactly which models to avoid. Start with the most urgent. Pittsburgh Automotive 6-ton heavy-duty steel jack stand, item number 61197. This is the largest and most dangerous of the recalled group. Look for a yellow label on the base. 61197 must be pulled from service immediately, no exceptions. Next, 2 3-ton models, both from Harbor Freight, item 61196 and item 56371. For these, the label location changes. On 6116, check the yellow sticker at the base. On 56371, the item number appears on a label at the top of the stand just under the ratchet bar. Both were included in the May 2020 recall. Both have a history of false engagement, where the mechanism can appear locked but is not. Fourth, the replacement that was supposed to fix the problem, item 56373. This is another 3-ton Harbor Freight stand, often red, with a label at the top. It was recalled only weeks after its release, this time for a seam weld that could fail without warning. If you returned a 61196 or 56371 and got a 56373 as a replacement, check again. The remedy applied to all 4 SKUs. This model was recalled as well. Last on the immediate pull list is the Walmart Hyper Tough 2-ton jack stand, Model 2 TJS. This one carries a label on the top, usually with the Hyper Tough name and the 2 TJS marking. Walmart's recall covered nearly 14,000 units. and the NHTSA filing warned of a 100% defect rate. Write these numbers down: 61197, 61196, 56371, 56373, and Hyper Tough 2, TJS. Stop using any stand with these item numbers. Find the label, confirm the SKU, and set them aside. This is not a theoretical risk. These models are documented failures under federal recall. The next section will make clear why these labels matter so much. False engagement is the silent killer hiding in these recalled jack stands. The mechanism looks locked, but it is not. That is not speculation. It is proven in court and on camera. In the 2018 case of Klorchik versus Sears, after a Craftsman ratchet stand failed, the plaintiff's expert brought a painted pawl into evidence. The pawl is the curved steel bar that is supposed to catch under the teeth of the stand's lifting post. In this case, the paint showed a contact patch under 1 square centimeter, less than the width of a fingernail. The stand looked secure, but the actual grip was so small that the load slipped with almost no warning. The court accepted the term false engagement as a technical fact. The stand gave every visual cue of being locked, while the metal-on-metal contact was barely enough to hold up a bicycle, let alone a car. This is not just legal theory. A Reddit user in June 2020 posted a high-resolution video showing his own Harbor Freight 3-ton stand under load. He painted the pawl white, set a 200-pound weight on the post, and filmed the result. As the load pressed down, the paint scraped off in a thin line, again less than a square centimeter. The pawl, meant to sit deep in the ratchet tooth, was perched on the edge. The stand seemed locked, but the only thing stopping collapse was a sliver of steel, invisible from the outside. Engineers call this false engagement because the locking mechanism fools the eye. The pawl appears to drop into place, but the actual contact is so shallow that even a small shift can send the car crashing down. This is why OSHA and ASME standards require a real, measurable engagement, not just a click and a glance. The evidence is clear. These recalled stands can fail even when they look secure. Next comes the question of how these flaws made it through the factory and into millions of garages. Jiaxing Golden Rock Tools, the Chinese factory behind the recalled Harbor Freight jack stands, faced a problem that started on the production line. Over time, the stamping dies that cut the ratchet teeth wore down. After about 30 million cycles, the teeth no longer formed deep enough grooves for the pawl, the curved bar that locks the stand in place, to catch securely. Harbor Freight's own audits showed the defect rate rising from 2% in mid-2019 to 6% by early 2020. That is tens of thousands of stands with suspect engagement, shipped across the United States in every batch. When the die wear reached a breaking point, NHTSA's recall filings cited a 5% failure rate, far above any acceptable safety margin for equipment that holds up a car. Weld quality was the next weak link. The replacement 3-ton stand, item 56373, failed not at the pawl, but at the seam weld joining the upper column to the base. Metallurgical tests found weld penetration less than 1.5 millimeters, barely enough to fuse the parts. Under load, the weld could unzip, dropping the car without warning. This was not a theoretical risk. NHTSA's recall campaign 20E046 described the weld as inadequate and ordered 118,000 units off the market. The danger is not limited to recalled brands. Online marketplaces are flooded with no-name jack stands that mimic the same ratchet design, often lacking any permanent ASME PASE 2019 marking. OSHA requires this certification. and the ASME standard demands a heat-stamped label with the load rating and manufacturer details. Any stand missing these marks, or labeled only with vague claims like meets ANSI standards, should be treated as unverified and potentially unsafe. Without that stamp, there is no guarantee of testing, traceability, or basic oversight. When it comes to the equipment holding up your car, shortcuts in the factory and on the label are shortcuts to disaster. Harbor Freight's response came straight from the top. On July 7, 2020, founder Eric Schmidt sent a letter to every customer who bought a recalled jack stand. He called the situation disappointing and embarrassing, and committed to a full cash refund for any affected model. No store credit, no questions asked. The policy covers all 4 Pittsburgh automotive SKUs: 61197, 61196, 56371, and 56373. Return any of these stands to a Harbor Freight location, or mail them in with a prepaid shipping label, and you will get your money back, including shipping costs. The refund window was extended to 180 days after the notice, giving owners time to act. This is more than a corporate apology. It is a direct path to reclaim your purchase cost and remove a known hazard from your garage. 3 jack stands stand out as reliable replacements, each meeting the latest ASME PASE 2019 safety standard. For budget-conscious buyers, the Daytona pin lock, item 58789, delivers a 3-ton rating with a through-pin mechanism. No ratchet, no partial engagement, just a steel pin that locks the post in place. It is certified, stamped, and typically sells for under $60 per pair. In the mid-tier, the US Jack D41609 is built in the United States, rated for 3 tons, and uses a double-lock ratchet with machined pawls for secure engagement. This model costs around $280 per pair and is favored by both military and pro shops. At the professional end, the Hein-Werner HW93503 offers robust steel construction, a 3-ton capacity, and a 2-year warranty. While its certification initially cited the older PALD standard, recent production carries ASME PASE 2019 compliance. Expect to pay $140 to $160 per pair. All 3 have passed independent load and engagement tests, with the Daytona pin lock earning top marks for eliminating false engagement entirely. OSHA's rules for jack stands are clear, and every safe garage follows them. Always use stands in pairs and never exceed their combined weight rating. A pair of 3-ton stands means a total support of 6,000 pounds, not 12,000. Before you crawl under, double jack the vehicle. Leave the floor jack in place as a backup, or roll a spare tire under the frame. Chock the wheels that stay on the ground, front and back. Never trust visual engagement alone. Test stability by shaking the car from all sides. On asphalt or soft ground, lay down a steel plate or thick plywood to prevent sinking. OSHA 1910-244 and 1926-305 demand these steps, and they exist for a reason. Every inspection, every backup, every chock. It is not overkill. It is the difference between a safe repair and a disaster. Over 1.8 million recalled jack stands, some marked with item 56371, item 61196, or NHTSA campaign 20E016, still lurk in garages. NHTSA.gov, not CPSC, holds the real recall records. Your safety relies on what's under your car, not marketing claims. Pause, check your stands, and trust the evidence, not the label.